everyone, and welcome to the Weekly Woo. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. If you don't know what the Weekly Woo is, I totally understand. I haven't been able to be consistent. I've been traveling all summer, but the travels have winded down, and I have some time to devote to this side project of mine. I'm also taking clients again, so if you're interested in a private session, you can email me at info@thegoodwoo.org. You can also go to my link tree if you're watching this on Instagram, and there's a whole bunch of links where you can follow. Go to my Patreon where I go into more in-depth readings. You can go to the YouTube channel where this is also going to be posted, and of course my website, which is a little bit not updated. So the first thing I want to talk about this week as we're moving forward, we just had a very fertile new moon in Virgo. And Virgo is the planet that represents healing, self-healing, the healer. And this is an amazing time to start new, productive, positive, healthy habits. If you start them in the next 2 weeks, which is where this new moon sort of phase is the most powerful before we get to the full moon in Aries in 2 weeks, these changes, these habits, these patterns that you're going to be implementing will have legs, meaning they're going to have roots, because within this new moon was a grand earth trine, which means that we have the ability to materialize into the material plane these changes, these actions, these habits that are good for us. So I don't know about you guys, I kind of felt this, I've felt this really coming out of all these travels, which were awesome, but hard on my body in many ways. So making a lot of changes to my diet, to my daily life, my routine. And I just want to encourage you guys, because we also have very potent energy of Neptune right now affecting us, which gives us the opportunity to bring the mystery, mysticism, spirituality, the other side. Neptune rules, photography, cinematography, storytelling, all things woo, woo, woo. So you have this opportunity to bring those things into your daily life, into your routines, to enrich them, to make them more creative, more fulfilling on every level of life, right? Not just the physical. So in the Weekly Woo, for those of you who are new, I pull a series of different cards. I'm calling right now on our mineral guide. So we're going to do an animal guide for the week, plant ally for the week, and right now we're doing the mineral guide. Now, this deck is super cool. It's by Margaret Ann Limbo, and it's Masters, Mystics, and Saints. And I love this because what we get is a stone that, I'm super into crystals. If you know me, you know this. If you've watched these videos, you know this. I really believe that we can learn from everything that Creator created. And and the other thing that I love about this deck is it gives us a crystal to work with, which also means it's giving us a color to work with. Again, I believe in the power of colors being able to heal different emotional, physical wounds. And then it also is going to give us a mystic, master, or saint to focus on this week. So love this deck. So the first, oh, how interesting. Okay, so I'm going to start with the way it turned up. Just kind of, Walt Disney is the Master, Mystic, and Saint. A little bit controversial. And if you don't know why I've said that, you can Google that so much. So it's also, this deck gives us mantras to work with. So this week it's saying, oh, how interesting. It's easy for me to communicate with plants and animals. I freely spend time in nature. Mother Earth and I have an intimate connection. Now, this is great because what was I just talking about? This Earth trine that is in effect really powerfully for the next 2 weeks, where we can really access the grounding power of our home planet, meaning walking barefoot on sand, on Earth. Gosh, there's so many benefits. Really slowing down and taking time to be in nature, to listen to nature. Depending on how deeply you want to listen is how deeply it will answer you, right? I love that it's saying intimate connection. Right? I'm a big studier student of intimacy and all its gifts and and one of the things I read this week about intimacy is it's the privilege of being able to know someone at their worst. And I thought that was such an interesting way to describe it when, you know, we're all, especially in this social media age, everything is about like putting your best face forward all the time. And like, how is that authentic? And when do we get to, you know, get into the nitty gritty of like, we have bad days, some days we don't feel good, some days we're not high vibe, you know? Mother Earth and I have an intimate connection. So it signals to me like this week, if you're feeling at your worst or not at your best, it's a great time to go out into Mother Nature, find that tree, lean on that tree, look up into the sky, ask for a sign. Allow the bird song to speak to you. Allow the changing of the leaves to speak to you. Let yourself be raw. You're right? With Mother Nature, like, you don't have to put your best face forward. You can just be who you are when you're in nature. So maybe get naked in nature, you know, if you can, if that's legal in your area. Next one is I embrace my imagination and use visualization to make my dreams come true. So when we're in the 2 weeks after a new moon, it is the most auspicious time to be setting intentions, setting goals, manifesting. And if you're not really sure what manifesting is or what at all I'm talking about, it's really quite simple. If there's something you're desiring, spend time visualizing it, right? In your mind's eye, with your imagination, as if you already have it, right? So if it's like, let's keep it simple. If it's a car you want, a very specific car, well, then you would imagine yourself in that car. And how do you feel to be in this car of your dreams? What does the steering wheel feel like? What does it smell like, right? What does it feel like? What are your hands touching? What does the dashboard feel like? What does it feel like driving it? You really immerse yourself in the feelings of what it would be to have it. These feelings are vibrations, and the more intensely you feel them, the longer you feel them, the more they are likely to materialize. Now, this is sort of a physics 101. I've done a lot of videos on this. If it's something that interests you, you can, message me below, leave a comment, DM me. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment if it's something you want me to talk more about. I'm a big believer in it. I do it every day. Okay, let's talk about this chlorite phantom quartz that goes with this. Questions. If you're a big journaler, take notes. Do you recognize the personification of nature? And that plants and animals may reveal human qualities such as the ability to converse. So this is so the weekly woo, like in a nutshell, where we're opening ourselves up to messages being received from every direction, from the direction the birds are flying to, I always say with my clients, if a crow or birds suddenly kick up in their song or in their tweeting or in their cawing, that whatever you were just thinking about is really important, and what also comes after that is really important. But also, if you ask for signs, they will be given. And this is a week where I really feel like we could have a lot of those signs. If you're questioning a direction, a decision, ask for signs and see what happens. Even if it's just for fun, that usually leads to something quite profound because you have a lightness to it, right? Do you communicate easily with the nature, plants, and animals? Cultivate a deeper relationship with all non-human life. All life forms can provide us with wisdom. They have spirits and lessons to share. Everything is connected. So beautiful. Well, I think that this is really like the highest way to honor this earth trine is to really put, nature, the animals, the plants around us on a bit of a pedestal this week and see what they can tell you. If you have pets as well, like there could be some really interesting stuff go down this week with that. And I'd love for you guys to share it with me if that happens. So, okay, so this chlorite phantom quartz, these quartzes, I don't know where mine is. I have one of these where within the quartz there is like usually like another formation within. And I think this really speaks to, like I was talking about this idea of we're always having to put our best face forward, but to the neglect of our internal selves, the truth and the messy parts. And I just want to encourage you guys to allow the messy parts to come out this week, don't do anything illegal. Like I was saying, be naked in nature, but only if you're not going to get arrested. Okay. Let's move on to our animal. Our animal this week. I had a client today, and in her session, white birds were really prominent. So I feel like that's something that we can all use this week. White birds, if you're seeing them, hearing them, whether it's in nature or otherwise, what were you just thinking about? What's the conversation you're in? There's a message there. And of course, also, okay, I'm just going to cut myself off there. Isn't this interesting? We had dog. So, loyalty and friendship is the lesson of the dog, that unconditional love. I read something this week about how a cat purring and what was it, a dog? I don't know. So it was how the vibration of the animals when they're in a blissful state is so high on the scale of vibratory frequencies that they automatically pull the humans around them up to that frequency. So, I think spending time with your animals is going to be really important this week, and perhaps some of you will be attaining a new dog friend. I know my son and I are deeply in the process of that. Okay, so let's read it. Today, I will love without condition. My energy and enthusiasm are an inspiration. I choose to be happy. I am a protector and friend. So I think the thing that really popped out to me is this: I choose to be happy. Because it's a choice, right? In any given moment, it's a choice. Because of course life is going to throw challenges. Life isn't fair a lot of the time, and there are people who do shitty things, and maybe you do shitty something and you have to deal with that. But in every moment we have to focus on what we can control, because there's so much that we can't. And one of the things we can control is how we feel and how we react to what the world is bringing us or what it's reflecting to us. And just the simple choice to, regardless of where you're at, if you in your journey to fulfillment, the choice to be happy. A lot of us say, well, I'll be happy when ... And what happens if you flip that? What if you just decide to be happy now? All those things that you think are going to bring you happiness will then automatically have to manifest in your life, because it's a like attracts like law that we live under. So what if you, like you were talking about this manifestation technique, where you start feeling the feelings as if whatever it is you're wanting to attain, you already have. Same thing with like happiness, like fake it till you make it. Choose to be happy wake up, say tomorrow, Monday. I don't know when this is actually going to be able to get posted. We're just out of a Mercury retrograde. It could take forever. It could go like this, but what if you just wake up Monday and you decide, today I'm going to choose to be happy, and in whatever circumstance comes my way, regardless of whether it's good or bad or it seems for me or against me, I'm going to choose to respond in happiness. And I'm going to continue to choose to be happy throughout the day, no matter what comes in. This is truly working a muscle. And it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. But I want to encourage you guys to walk through this week with that boundless joy that we see dogs have. I also want to point out something about a dog that I just, they go through something traumatic or they go through something that scares them and they shake it off, right? It's like a somatic response. They instantly, it moves out of their body. And so much of what illness and disease, dis-ease is our inability as humans to do exactly that. We hold on to the pain and the trauma and it gets lodged within our muscles, bones, organs, systems, because we don't take the time to maybe not put our best face forward and just, I don't know, fall apart and cry for a bit because what happened just sucked. So oftentimes we just try to stalwart on and act like everything's okay, or don't want to cry in public. Or I'm a big believer in crying in public and being an example of letting emotions flow through so that they don't become stuck. It's taken me a while to get this, but I give you guys this like pink slip. You don't have to do all the crazy work that I had to do to get here to understand exactly what naturally happens with the canine. They shake it off and then they can move on. They like drop the weight. And I think we could all get better at this, especially if you think about the idea of like holding grudges. And really what we're finding is like resentment is like the main cause of cancer. So what do you need to shake off? Spend some time with dogs this week. Okay, next. Sometimes we do trees, sometimes we do flowers for our plant ally. I'm gonna do flowers this week. What is our flower ally? Our plant ally this week. Okay. Honey grevillea. Look at all that yellow. They say that yellow, we're talking about happiness. Yellow is usually like the vibration of happiness and yellow are combined. So maybe bring some yellow into your life. It's a season for sunflowers and we're starting to get into pumpkin season. The oranges and the yellows can be quite uplifting. The yellow is the solar plexus chakras color. This maybe is not maybe, I'm going to say, we're moving into the fall equinox this Thursday and Friday, which is a very auspicious time, right? The changing of the season and a time to go within. But because we're still in this new moon portal, it's also a time to like be actively, moving forward on goals and being initiative. And the solar plexus energy center in our body is called our internal sun. So it's a great time to get out in the sun, actually. 20 minutes in the sun completely reroutes our body and our body starts producing chemicals that are antibacterial, antifungal, that boost our mood. And it's free. 20 minutes in the sun. You can clear out that medicine cabinet. You know what I mean? So that's pointing to that to me. But we also have creation as its key word. And this is what I'm talking about. We're talking about manifestation. You're a co-creator of your life. I believe that there are points of destiny within a lifetime that I call node points. And if you're interested in that, I can talk more about that in private sessions or in other videos. If you head over to Patreon, maybe that's something I'll talk about this week. But within those node points, it really is your job to facilitate and create the life that you want. Or you can just let life happen to you. But I'm a big believer in getting ahead of that and being on team with destiny and on team with the energies at play. And when you're sitting down visualizing things that you want as if you already have them, you are literally creating a path forward that the energies of this energetic soup that we're in have to pay attention to. You're literally like, it's as if, imagine that the energetic soup we exist in called our universe is a bunch of horses. When you do this work, you're literally like pushing them in one direction. And this is where, like, you know, true empowerment, true power lies. So this is a week to really explore that. Now, I just want to, it's 11 also, which is a very benevolent and magical number, but it's also a number about mirroring. And this brings up, you know, came up like this idea of envy and jealousy and like wanting what someone else has. And I just want to encourage you guys, you know, we live in a society that sort of perpetuates that. But I want you to see a different side of it. If you're seeing something, especially like on social media, and you're like, oh God, I wish I looked that way or felt that way or had that or had this or could do that. Instead of letting it send you into a negative vibe, I would encourage you this week to let it take you higher. Whatever it is that you want, you desire deep in your heart, you have the means to achieve. And so let other people's success and apparent magical lives or whatever, let it inspire you rather than take you down the other side. A time of harvest and enjoying the rewards from the things you've been creating. But you must also find an idea, project, or new way of thinking as it opens up to you. Creative and productive work surrounding creative projects is also shown. Energies are strengthening that are connected with passion and the opening to love, which results in a deepening of unions. Fertility, parenting, and family relationships are all part of the story of Honey Gravilia as well. So you may see new commitments and additions to families. Challenges can be creative blocks or an unwillingness to think outside the box, a suppression of ideas. So perhaps what I'm sharing with you guys is a new idea. This idea of manifesting through emotional imagination. But try it this week. Also, you know, this idea of a friend that we picked up on, and that, you know, this plant ally also signaling love. You know, we just got out of this Venus retrograde and a Mercury retrograde that dragged a lot of our relationships. You know, if your relationships were weak or faltering, friendships, familial, romantic, excuse me, I haven't talked this much in a long time. Then they were really, if they weren't healthy, they were dragged and probably ended, or maybe ending soon. And that doesn't mean that they were failures, you know, but this could be a time where new attractions are blossoming, or say somebody who was your friend and suddenly you're finding yourself attracted to them, or collaborations with friends, and just this new sense, a sense of freshness, a sense of a new page in the book, new beginnings. This is what's definitely happening. And I feel like these new beginnings, although for a while they may be not hidden necessarily, but just, you know, seeds that are sprouting really by, you know, I think the holiday season, you know, they're going to be growing. And that's really exciting because 2023, especially this summer, was a time of intense inner work and an invitation to really look at our part in why our relationships aren't fulfilling and why we aren't getting the treatment that we feel we deserve from the people in our lives, and why the communication goes askew. And, you know, if you're dealing with relationships where lots of arguments or misunderstandings, like we really had to look at that this summer. And I feel like we can now move forward with these lessons in our heart. And that means that some of our bonds will disentangle. And we move on to attract and collaborate with new people, but also I think there's going to be, because this grand trine, all three of the planets were retrograde, there's a sense of unfinished business from your past. So like old creative projects from the past that you never got to finish coming forward, and suddenly like there's this opportunity to complete them, or connections from your past where you never got to see it through fruition for whatever reason, and it comes back into your life for you to like suss it again and experience it again. This could also be like things in your closet, foods, places you used to go, and all for a sort of recalibration of it, a fresh start of it. So okay, I'm gonna move the roses over here. I got this amazing deck while I was traveling this summer. It's called the Mystical Healing Deck. And I'm gonna pull a card from it because, with this Virgo new moon, it's health, it's healing, it's the repair so that you are whole again to really be manifesting and attracting what you want. So where do we need to heal this week? What should our focus be when it comes to healing specifically? Unlock your heart. Wow. Well, that definitely coincides with what we've been talking about, right? The number's 35, that may be significant this week. So we have 11 and 35 so far as our numbers. And I'm really feeling that, I think, yellow and orange, the colors that we're working with. Okay, unlock your heart. I'm just going to read a little bit. If you keep protecting yourself from being hurt, you will stop yourself from experiencing an intimate, delicious, earth-shattering, life-enhancing, sacred relationship. When a protected heart bursts open, there is pain, sadness, fear, rejection, brokenness, and a host of other unprocessed emotions. But nothing compares to the possibility of listening, trusting, and following the ancient wisdom that lives in a heart that has gone through pain, struggle, and loss, and has come out on the other side with warmth, humility, compassion, and selfless action. So don't allow pride, hurt, and fear to keep this most exquisite part of yourself shut off. Instead, listen and allow this part to have the opportunity to guide you towards self-knowledge and intimate knowledge of another who you yearn for. Allow all that is love in. Okay, so at the beginning of this recording, I talked about something I read about intimacy. And intimacy being an invitation to witness someone's worst. And I think so much of us, working with clients the past week, it's been, two of them had sort of like a new love situation, but there was this defeatist feeling that they were having, both of them, because what if this person sees this part of myself or this part of myself or knows this about my history and then doesn't want me? But I really feel like in this day and age, especially with like the dating apps and all of this, this idea of true and raw intimacy is going to become more and more desirable. It's sort of like the pendulum swing of like everything being so sort of fake and plastic, and then we swing back to we want real. And we want to be seen for exactly what this talks about, to be seen for the wisdom we have gained because of the pain, trauma, and suffering we have endured. And our ability to share that with each other. I mean, this is where true creativity comes from. Even if you were to take like making a baby, you know, which the birthing of the baby is like blood, sweat, tears, shit, vomit. I mean, everything, right? Okay. If you are wanting more of this good woo, you can head over to my Patreon account. There's a couple different tiers where you can be a part and access some deeper dives into some of the topics that I talk about during the weekly woo. And again, if you're interested in a private session with me, email me at the info@thegoodwoo.org, and I will send you the vetting questions, because I do a bit of a process to see if clients and I are compatible. Okay, so I'm just going to do one tarot card for the week, the energy that we are being called to bring to our week. And this is the Page of Wands. This is a youthful energy of looking to the future, new beginnings, fresh starts, really letting go of the guilt and the shame and the heaviness, doing what the dogs do, shaking it off, whether you're shaking off a moment, a conversation, a breakup, a loss, or like 25 years of abuse. You're shaking it off because there's a new start coming in, and the energies are here to help propel you through that. So I really hope this helps you guys this week. Please like, subscribe wherever you're watching. Send a comment if this resonated with you, and let me know how it goes for you guys this week. Thanks so much for viewing.